All right, guys, I just want to talk to you today about the triple blood moons that are going to be coming up next year, i.e. Roman calendar year 2025 through to 2026. And these are the blood moons, the triple blood moons, that are actually going to be the season of the tribulation beginning. All right. But one of the things that I noticed was, first of all, I noticed that the first one, which is in March of 2025, is actually going to be Purim, the Feast of Purim, where they celebrate the Jews that were not killed by the Babylonians, so to speak, and because of Queen Esther. And they hold a feast called Purim, which is in the 14th day, which is the full moon, just like Passover and Tabernacles is on the full moon. Is the 14th day of Nisan, Passover, of Tishra, is Tabernacles. And the 14th day of Adar, the month of Adar, which is like the last month of the year, they celebrate Purim. All right. Now I noticed, first of all, when I looked at this triple blood moon, I was like, wow, this first blood moon is Purim. So it's like bloody Purim. I think that's what I'll call it. And then, strangely enough, after that, I noticed that the third blood moon was also Purim on the 14th of Adar, but in the year 2026 at March time. But what's the main focus of this triple blood moon, mate, is that September blood moon, it's the last of the 6 identical signs of World War I. All right, there were 6 identical signs. There was the blood moons of 2022, I believe it was. And then you have a solar eclipse in April of 2023, which was the 3-year warning, okay, until World War III. And then you have the solar eclipse of April 2024, which was also the cross out of America eclipse. That's 4. And then the blood moon of next year, 2025, is the 5th and last identical sign of World War I that's happening now. Which puts World War III at June of 2026. Just like that. And then you have the 6th identical sign. And then you have the 6th identical sign, which is a total solar eclipse, which happens 1 month after the war is on in August of 2026. But the main focus of that triple blood moon is the centerpiece, September of 2025. Because, well, let's just let's just go to the timeline now. All right, we'll start from now. Even the next thing to happen on my timeline, after everything I put into, at today, the next thing to happen on the timeline is Donald Trump is the president of America, yeah, United States of America. Now, and he's going to be the fall guy for Seal 2, which is war outbreak from Israel. I'm bringing all the other world leaders in for World War. And then Seal 3, sorry, is market collapse. All right, like the Simpsons, depicted him. Well, it just so happens that he is president for the next 4 years, and it just so happens that my timeline shows the seals are going to happen. In the next, year from now. So you have the fall guy, Trump, coming in January, and then the 7 seals can happen, which will be anyway the fall of 2025. So then the next thing to happen is that Purim blood moon. So you got the Purim blood moon on March. And then the next thing, it's not too vital to everyone, but then my star of Esther, it actually starts a loop in March, and then it makes a second part of the loop in Virgo in July, I believe it is. And then comes away like this. So every time Vesta, my star Vesta, second star is Ceres, but not my star, Jason's. But my star of Esther, every time it makes a loop, something, a life altering event happens in my life. So that'll be a time for watch, especially for me, maybe not for everyone else. But yeah, it makes a loop in July like this. But then you come to September, October, and then you have the fall feasts. All right? You have the fall feast. You have the Feast of Trumpets. And then this will begin, I was just looking at it the other day, and beginning around September 21st. So first, second, third, fourth, and then you have Jesus' 8th birthday. All right, around September 25th, 2025, and 8th is a completion number, which to me means a few things. It means completion of waiting for us, for the tribulation to begin, completion of waiting for the man-child, for Israel, the woman, to bring forward the man-child Jesus to his throne by saying, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, Baruch haba b'shem Adonai." and to bring about that bringing forward of the man-child, which we're still waiting on to continue Revelation 12, and we're still waiting on to complete Revelation 5, and then the tribulation can begin them chapters. So that's just another thing we're still waiting on concerning that. And yeah, Satan as well, because Satan has been away with the angels, as you could say, since the birth sign. All right, the birth sign was in 2017, the Feast of Trumpets, Rosh Hashanah, whatever you want to call it. However you want to call it, as long as the main thing is knowing this stuff, never mind your terminology. Rosh Hashanah, Feast of Trumpets 2017 was the birth sign completion. All right, and Jupiter, the king planet, moved into Virgo. All right, 9 months before the sign was complete. So this was in an impregnation sign. Well, guess what? Barack Obama left the scene like a thief in the night. He left office when the man-child was conceived in the woman in the heavens. All right, on December, you could say Tevet 14th. On Tevet of 2016 through 17, Barack Obama, Satan incarnated, was off like that. Why? Because his angelic being, which is Satan, the devil, Metatron, however you want to call him, his spirit is away in the heavens, and he is seeking to stop the man-child getting from the manger in the heavens, if you like, getting from his house, which is Revelation 1 to 3, and ascending to God's house, which is Revelation 4, 5 onwards, all right, to receive the inheritance event, which is the 7 seals. All right, but Satan, it says Satan stands in front to stop the man-child getting to that house. All right, now that hasn't happened yet. That's why Barack Obama has not been back on the scene yet. All right, but it's going to take the angels. It says Michael and his angels will go to war with the dragon and his angels, and they're not going to win, and the Satan and his angels are going to get thrown down to earth. And guess what? Then the inheritance event can happen. When Jesus Christ, courtesy of Israel, shall ascend to the throne of God and receive his inheritance, which is the former 7 seals, and then the tribulation events can begin. All right, nothing has started yet. Here's a very, very profound, and you won't be able to miss this. Well, seal number 1 is the Antichrist William being crowned king. All right, so I mean, we can look at 2015. So you got the blood moon, you've got the feasts. All right, you got war outbreak as well, with Venus in Leo. So there's a war outbreak around that time as well. So after the feasts, though, I believe that Jesus' 8 years birthday, Feast of Trumpets, Tishra 3rd-ish, and then you get on to the Feast of Tabernacles, which is the 14th of Tishra. All right, and I believe because of Enoch 60, all right, that the inheritance event would happen on the Feast of Tabernacles, because Enoch dates it. He says it was the 14th day of the 7th month, which is the 14th day of Tishra, which is the beginning of the Feast of Tabernacles. And all of them were gathered together to the throne. All the angels, 10,000 times 10,000 of thousands of angels, disquieted. They surround the throne. They all celebrate. That's exactly what happens during the inheritance event during Revelation 5. So I put 2 and 2 together and thought, well, hang on a minute. How about if the inheritance event happened on the Feast of Tabernacles? But then you can also add to that I believe that the inheritance event would happen on the Sabbath day, which, to be honest, during the feast time, there'll only be one Sabbath day within the feast anyway. So, you know, if the feast starts on a Tuesday, it might be Tuesday to Monday, Tuesday to Tuesday, but then there's a Saturday in there. So that's what pinpoint, I believe it's October the 11th is the only Sabbath within Feast of Tabernacles of 2025, and that's when I believe the inheritance event will happen. The Feast of Tabernacles, Sabbath day. You know what I mean? That's very specific, that is. So, Feast of Tabernacles, October the 11th, Feast of Tabernacles, Sabbath day. That's when I believe, you know, if I had to put all my chips down, and that's when I would say putting 3 things together. You know, Enoch 60, the Sabbath day, the Feast of Tabernacles, everything together. So when that inheritance event happens, only then can the 7 seals begin. So that's after. So we come after October the 11th, 2025 for the inheritance event to begin. So, and then it can begin. And then if you work it out though, you know, then you got, I'll try and make this as simple as possible. Since the World War signs in the heavens, both 6 identical signs and the 3-year warning all point to June of 2026 as World War, all right? But World War in the end of the age events is actually trumpet number 6. So you say trumpet number 6, World War, June 2026, for 13 months of complete annihilation of the earth, from a nuclear World War III. All right, June 2026. But here's the but, and it's a big but, is that Trumpet 5 comes first, obviously, which it lasts for 5 months, which is also the orbit path of Nibiru. It comes past the Earth, it goes up past the Sun, and comes back down past the Earth again, and that's 5 months. Well, Trumpet number 5 is 5 months. And the passing of the throne, you see, is seal 6, and then as 144,000 are sealed on the forehead, a great multitude are caught up to the throne, they have been saved. All right, and then the throne locks off, and then the seal 6 and 7 is the completion of the first passing of the throne. But immediately, I mean, even these 7 angels are locked onto the earth, but the first 4 said, hey, don't hurt the earth until we've sealed our 144,000 and we've raptured a great multitude. Do not hurt the earth until, because these are the first 4 angels. And so when the throne locks off of earth, this is Revelation separate 8 chapter. This is the throne locks off of earth after the 7th seal. It locks off of earth with a massive earthquake, and there are thunders and lightnings and voices and an earthquake. All right, and then the trumpets go. Trumpet 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are already, the angels are already right there on the earth. And we pass through the tail of the throne of God, Nibiru, and we're pelted with fiery hail, 1 to 8 pound meteorites, and blood. Trumpet number 2, La Palma volcano, a mountain burning with fire, collapses in the sea and sends a mega tsunami across the Atlantic. Trumpet number 3, a star, a comet or an asteroid will be coming, like the Black Death comet asteroid was well documented, illustrated even, they drew pictures of it. That's the thing that brought the Black Death on the earth. Trumpet 3. Trumpet 4, the sun, the moon and the stars all go out for 3 days and 3 nights. Three days and 3 nights. See, there's the first 4 trumpets, and then trumpet 5, Yellowstone, the bottomless pit is opened, and the ash and the cloud darkens the sun and the air, and then the locusts come out upon the earth, and they sting the people who are not the 144,000, the people who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads, and they torment them like the sting of the scorpion for 5 months. And the people want to die because it's that bad, but they can't die, it says. They can't die, it says. So these are the things to come, and then you don't even, and then you get for 5 months, and then you get to nuclear World War III in June 28th of 2026. And why so specific is because that's when Venus enters Leo, and Venus in Leo is when the wars begin. Every world war at 9/11 last year, the Israeli-Hamas thing, it was bang on time. mean, I was literally a couple of days out, but I didn't do a window. I just said the closest point of Venus to Leo's main star, and I was literally like 1-2 days out. So this is real shit, man. And so when Venus is in Leo, that's when the wars are on. So you've got a window. I think it's 28th of June till about the 8th of August of 2026 is when that happens. But like I said, this is Trumpet 6. So between now and June of 2026, all the 7 seals are going to happen, and 5 trumpets are going to happen. All right. And so this is within these triple blood moons. This is all going to happen. You have the Purim March. And then you get September, you've got war outbreak happening, you've got blood moon, you've got that is the 5th and last identical sign until, you know, nuclear World War III. But after that, I believe this is when the inheritance event will happen. Because as to think about it, if Trumpet 6 is here, then the inheritance event that brings the seals on must come before it. So, you know, it can't come after, it can't come before June. Do you see what I mean? So all has to happen before. You've also got other things like them declaring that Arthur, which is William, would come as the Winter King. Which, you know, at the 24th of November, I believe that you could class that as winter, really. And so I believe that, you know, after September, after the inheritance event, November, end of November, 40 days of seals. So you've got the Winter King, the Antichrist, coming to be crowned king, like November 24th or sometime around there. And then you got the seals, war outbreak, market collapse. The Dome of the Rock being destroyed off the Temple Mount to rebuild the Temple of God, or the Jewish temple. Invasion of North America, Seal 4. Seal 5, then everyone will realize and cry up to God. Before he hits the earth on Tevet 14th. See, the second passing happens on Tevet 14th. We know that because after as 2 witnesses are killed, right, it says they will make merry and send gifts one to another, because these 2 prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth. Well, one thing, it has to be around Christmas, and 2, it has to be just before Christmas. And you know, in 2032, when this whole great tribulation will come to an end, Tevet 14th is before Christmas, something like the 16th of December, I believe it was, by memory. So just before Christmas, so it all works. But the second passing of the throne happens because as 2 witnesses rise from the dead after 3.5 days, and within the same hour we ascend to the throne of God Nibiru. But in that is the second passing of the throne, and he locks on within the same hour. There's a massive earthquake, splits the city into 3 parts, 7,000 people have died, and 144,000 give glory to the God of heaven. that must be at Tevet 14th full moon, because that's the only full moon around Christmas. So the second passing of the throne, which happens at the very end of the tribulation, happens at around just before Christmas on a specific day on God's calendar, which is Tevet 14th. So what about the first passing? Could the first passing happen? Well, when you take World War being in June of 26 and you take 5 months away, which is trumpet number 5, away from that, you get to what? January of 2026. Tevet 14th is in January. This year, coming up, it will be January the 13th, I believe it is. Next year, or 2026 to be precise, will be January 3rd. An amazing thing about that moon, man. Oh my God. I mean, sometimes you think, how is it these things even possible? But with God, all things are possible. With man, things seem impossible. But guess what? That full moon of Tevet 14th of January 3rd, which I believe will be the first passing of the throne, January 3rd, 2026, full moon. Guess when it comes to its fullest light, illumination, power, strength, whatever cycle, the fullest of the full moon, right, is at 10 a.m. UK time. UK time. Man, I've been preaching for nearly 10 years about when the throne hits, there's going to be a massive earthquake when it locks on, but it's going to roll the earth over, pole shift, and the sun is going to go down at what time, Amos 8:9? Noon time in Israel. Which is 10 a.m. UK time, UTC time, which is exactly when that moon goes fullest, 10 a.m. I was like, whoa. So you mean the fullest strength of this moon is going to be exactly when the throne hits? I was like, yeah. And that is exactly what it is, what I've just said. So it's quite amazing, but with God, all things that seem impossible are totally possible. So yeah, this triple blood moon, after I did my research, I realized that the third one is Purim as well. So you have Purim, September, the beginning of all things, the tribulation, the seals, the trumpets begin, and then when everything starts to settle down, after the first 4 or 5 trumpets have gone, and even we may have even had the dust cloud of Yellowstone coming over the whole earth at that time. But March will be a bloody Purim as well. Which is interesting because the middle of the tribulation, going by my timeline here, is another triple blood moon. So you have another triple blood moon. And the amazing thing about that, Tevet 14th actually becomes the blood moon itself, which is amazing because Tevet 14th is January 1st on that year, and then Tevet 14th is I think it's December the You have two blood moon, you have triple blood moon in 2029, January 1st to Vet 14th. You have the middle one, which is June, which will be the beginning of the Great Tribulation, if you like. The last 3.5 years. And then the end of the year, the Tevet 14th in December, is also Tevet 14th blood moon, which is amazing because through one of my revelations that I found out is that Tevet 14th is actually the moon that holds up all the blood moons in a perfect symmetrical cycle. So in 2029, when Tevet 14th becomes a blood moon itself, it's incredible. In fact, it hasn't done it since 9/11, 2001, blood moon in Tevet. So 2029 is a very bing, 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 look at me year, and for very good reason, because that's the beginning of, and then just to finish it off, may as well, but then the end of the Great Tribulation is a tetrad of blood moons, 4 blood moons all in a row. The first year is the month after the feasts, so you could say it's not Passover, it's actually Passover 2, and then the second one is the month after Tabernacles, all right? But then the second pair in the tetrad are actually bang on the feasts, all right? Which is Passover and Tabernacles. So that's quite incredible, but by my timeline, the tribulation will end smack bang in the middle of them on Tevet 14th, because Tevet 14th is the middle of them all. It's the middle of Tabernacles and Passover. So that's quite incredible, is that you have this triple blood moon, 2025-6, which begins the tribulation, the 7-year agreement also. Happen during that time with the seals, and then the Great Tribulation, which is the Great Tribulation, which is the last 3.5 years, will also be triple blood moon, almost identical to the first, and Tevet 14th will be 2 of them blood moons, January 1st and December. And then the end of everything, the end of the Great Tribulation, will be a quadruple blood moon in 2032 through to 33, and the tribulation, by my timeline, will end with those 2 witnesses being killed in Jerusalem. Tevet 14th, December 16th of 2032. And if you've got timelines, or you've got other people who've got timelines, you put it up against this timeline and see how they match, or contradict themselves even. So I just wanted to share that because, well, actually the real reason is because I've already made the image and it's just sitting there, and I'm like, oh, that's one of my next videos to have on the go. So I'm just going with the flow, really. So yeah, the beginning of the tribulation is a triple blood moon, but in the middle of it is where it's all going to begin. So I've been Pastor Prophet Justin Roberts from End of the Age Bible Prophecy. No time is short. I think what we've got 53 weeks on the clock now until Extinction Day. When the throne passes, but also Salvation Day. Remember, a great multitude will be caught up to the heavens. All the children under the age of bar mitzvah that are not accountable for sin, that do not need to repent of their sins because they're not accountable for the sins. All be caught up. I mean, that's 2 billion people under the age of bar mitzvah that will all be caught up and saved during that first passing of the throne. And anyone else who repents of their sins in Jesus' precious blood and name will be caught up to the throne, especially if they're in danger areas and if they're not the 144,000. The only people who will be left on the earth after the passing of the throne will be the 144,000, and them who didn't believe, and them who didn't repent of their sins. So, God bless you all anyway. I've been Pastor Prophet Justin Roberts from End of the Age Bible Prophecy. God bless you all. I'll see you on the next one. Amen.